the early 1900s, Daytona's sand proved to be a place where man could bring his automobile and write his name into the record book. In the mid-30s, that same sand hosted oval track racing. In 1959, Daytona International Speedway was built to accommodate speeds at over 150 miles an hour. Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Hennessy, and welcome to Daytona International Speedway. No, we're not broadcasting the race from here. Where we are going is Volusia County Speedway, which falls in the shadow of this facility. It's a great little asphalt track where drivers learn their skills so they can eventually come here. My broadcast colleague, Lenny Baticki, and I will be bringing you all the action on the Husqvarna 100.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The excitement fills the stands here at Volusia County. Down trackside prior to the start of the engines, Bill Hennessy had an opportunity to talk to the outside pole sitter, Danny Bagwell.
Once again on the front row here for Goody's NASCAR Dash Series race, Danny Bagwell. Volusia County, can you get the monkey off your back and win here tonight?
I don't know, Bill. TCI Prime Star Ford sure has been running real good today. You know, I think the weather may have helped us a little bit, clean the track up some. You know, it's going to be a good race for everybody. I think we may have a whole shot. I don't know. We'll just go for it and see what happens.
Danny's got to be a lot more confident being back in his car after having to borrow a ride up in North Wilkesboro. One driver who's certainly at the peak of confidence, picking off his 4th pole of the year. Bill Hennessy is down trackside with that driver. David Hutto starts in the front.
Going after your 6th victory of the season tonight here at Volusia County, David, what's going through your mind?
Well, we're just going to go hard as we can, not take too many chances. We get running for the points. We aim at 9 points out. And Larry, he's running good, so we just got to watch it.
Rest of our starting lineup, starting back in the 25th starting position, will be Gary Moore from Horseshoe, North Carolina. In the 40 car, the John Page Racing Lucas Oil Product Chevrolet. Now, this is an unusual ride for Gary Moore starting this car.
Row number 12 will feature Carl Jennings in the outside of that row, while Tampa, Florida's Dwayne Haynes Jr. has the C.D. Roma's machine on the inside of that same row.
In row 11, the Jenkins boys from down in Statesboro, Georgia. Outside is Shane Jenkins in the Homes of Merit entry, flanked by his brother in his very first start in the Goody's NASCAR Dash Series. That is Jason Jenkins.
Row number 10 has the Ford from Kansas, Doug Thompson, the lawyer. He'll start in the outside of row number 10. Well, it'll be another Husqvarna Dodge, although it won't be Cottle. This is Edward Howell in this entry tonight, and Edward has a win and a 4th place last season, so he should run strong. He's just going to have to come from the back of the pack.
18th on the starting grid is Jimmy Foster from here in Daytona Beach, Florida, the young driver, and only his 3rd Goody's NASCAR Dash Series race, sponsored by Pepsi-Cola and Safety Clean. On the inside of him is the leading Rookie of the Year candidate in the Dash Series, Darrell Murray, in the Ford Mustang.
Row number 8 has Kelly Charles on the outside, rookie contender Davis Myers on the inside.
Going to row 7 is Donnie Duchesne, the Floridian, on the outside of the 7th row. On the inside is a rookie driver all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Christian Elder, in his very first start in car number 23.
Row number 6, Larry Cottle in the Husqvarna Dodge on the outside, while on the inside it's Asheboro, North Carolina's Destry Gardner.
Going to row number 5 is Robert Huffman on the outside of the Hooked on Harry's Pontiac Sunfire. On the inside, in a brand new car, unfamiliar to him, is the Butler-built Motorsports Amick Farms car of young London Amick.
Row number 4 features a pair of drivers who have won here at Volusia County. On the outside, George Crenshaw. Inside, 2-time winner here at Volusia, Mickey York.
3rd row is Dave Stacy from Enon, Ohio, in the Hobart Welding Ford Probe. On the inside is Will Hobgood in car number 65, the Wynn's Oil Product Pontiac Sunfire.
The most recent winner on the Goody's Dash Series, Mike Swaim Jr., starts to the outside of row number 2, and Daytona's Dan Pardis will start to the inside.
And on the front row, as we told you earlier, Danny Bagwell and David Hutto as they square off here for this race at Volusia County Speedway, the Husqvarna 100. And of course, there's always an honorary starter. His name is Tim Riegelman, a Husqvarna dealer from nearby here in the state of Florida, as he's set to turn 25 cars loose on a 100-lap chase around this half-mile facility in the shadow of Daytona International Speedway. Of course, this track plays host every year to a great Speed Weeks special event on dirt and asphalt. Tim Riegelman, along with Jimmy Howell, set to wave the green flag, and it waves. Immediately, the drivers come up through the gearbox, and Hutto leads them into turn number 1.
David Hutto off of corner number 2, quickly trying to stay to the front. He's got 9 points to make up if he wants to pass Larry Caudle in the series points chase, and he's got to stay out front if he wants to do so.
Danny Bagwell riding in second place, the Birmingham, Alabama driver, having sour luck several times this season with an engine that expired. Let's hope he has better luck this evening in the TCI Prime Star Ford Probe, riding in second place, and they seem to be drawing away from the rest of the pack as they come onto the front straightaway. In-car camera, this one with Larry Caudle in the Husqvarna Dodge, who qualified well back in the pack here. Did not have a good qualifying run. His companion car is also running here this evening. That's Edward Howell. We see lightning flashing in the background. Rain is threatening all around this racetrack. It is raining in Daytona at the present time. It's raining in Orlando. We happen to be in a little clear area. Hopefully we can get the lap 50 and get this race in the record book.
Chasing his way to lap 50, David Hutto starting to pull away a little bit from Danny Bagwell, and that's somewhat surprising. Bagwell is a Charger, but I imagine that Danny is just trying to keep the car in line, knowing it is so early in the race. Don't want to burn the tires right off. But a good battle here, Bill.
Sure is. As cars back in the pack, including an unfamiliar car running in fourth place. A good run right now for Mickey York. Mickey York had to get on a car that he's unaccustomed to. As a matter of fact, he borrowed this one for tonight's event.
Yeah, we borrowed a car. Weaver and Reeves was good enough to loan the car to us for Cobra Electronics race and to come down here and try to run. Car's not bad. I think we're 7th. I think the car will be better late in the race when I get a little more time, and I don't have but about 25 laps in it. So we're looking for a good race. We need something to turn this year around.
Mickey York, I can't agree with you more. You need something to turn this year around, because it has been one rough year for you and your car. And barring one tonight, you're lucky to be in the race after that major crash at North Wilkesboro a couple of weeks ago.
Mickey was really sore after that contact up there in the foothills of North Carolina. Good to see him back. And you're right, he could certainly use the luck, trying to work his way through as he's chasing Will Hobgood around this track in Volusia.
This is the Rodney Orr Memorial Race here this evening, since Rodney, a spin over in turn 4. And that car, Robert Huffman, being turned around by George Crenshaw in the thick of traffic, and the yellow waving here at lap 8. We'll be back with more in a moment from Volusia County Speedway of the Husqvarna 100. Volusia County Speedway, Daytona Beach, Florida. Bill Hennessy along with Lenny Matticki covering the action here as we get ready to go back to green flag racing following a spin by Robert Huffman. Car's already a lap down, being shown as Carl Jennings along with Dwayne Haynes. Headed to the first quarter is young David Hutto. Giving chase is Danny Bagwell. Third is Will Hobgood, and fourth in a borrowed car, Mickey York.
David Hutto, another fantastic restart. That's been a trademark of his drive for the championship this season. Dave Stacy on the inside, working his way up through the field. The Enon, Ohio runner, starting to show some strength early in this event.
He started 6th. He's up to 4th as he goes by Mickey York in car number 6. The cars running this track in less than 18 seconds. Last lap, a 17.80, 101.5 miles per hour. So they're really getting around this half-mile asphalt oval.
These 4-cylinder Flyers putting a show on for the crowd here in the Daytona area. Bagwell leading Hobgood into the corner, and now we get an in-car camera shot from Larry. Oh, look, a little bit of contact, a lot of contact now up in front, and it looks like the 33 car contacting with the other Amick Farms car. Looks like Lyndon and Dan Pardis caught up in that one, and you saw Destry Gardner spin by in the 72, Bill. A lot of damage there.
Well, a 33 car, not the normal car in which Lyndon Amick runs in. And now we go in-car camera with Lyndon Amick. The other view we had was real-time was Larry Caudle. Into the back of a car that belongs to him is Lyndon Amick. Into the side of Danny Pardis's car. Our camera gets tilted down, and you saw the contact between the 33 and the 42 as he drives away. Another one of the cars involved in the crash, the 28 car, Mike Swain Jr., who has won 2 races this season, Bristol, Tennessee, and North Wilkesboro. Heavy damage on the left front corner and left side of the car. The wrecker on its way to give Mike Swain Jr. a shove back towards the pits.
Tough contact for last week's winner, Mike Swain Jr. We've got lap 15, the second caution of the night. We'll return here to Volusia County Speedway with more action for the Husqvarna 100.
Welcome back to the Husqvarna 100. Bill Hennessy along with Lenny Baticki over the half-mile Volusia County Speedway, set for another restart. David Hutto followed by Danny Bagwell as we get ready to go back to green flag racing. A lap car, Carl Jennings on the inside. That's the number 47. Third place, the Wins Oil entry of Will Hobgood running fourth is Danny Bagwell. Fifth is Mickey York. Down to the first quarter, Bagwell goes to the high side. In-car camera, this one being the Husqvarna Dodge of Larry Caudle, going to the high side of Jason Jenkins from Statesboro, Georgia. Of course, Caudle having to start well back in the pack in his battle for not only a win here, but the national championship as Hutto and Bagwell continue their tooth-and-nail battle off the second quarter and down the back straightaway.
David Hutto not getting the typical quick restart on Danny Bagwell. Danny's a charger, like we mentioned, and look at him look to the inside. So come out of corner number 4, door handle to door handle.
Bagwell will take the lead here at the beginning of lap number 22. No, he's side by side as these two drivers put on quite an exhibition of driving into the third quarter. Bagwell digs at the bottom of the racetrack. I believe he's going to lead this one at the stripe. Give lap number 22 to Danny Bagwell. In-car camera now. The Husqvarna Dodge of Larry Caudle. He goes to the high side of Doug Thompson. Headed in for the first quarter now. Running right behind Mike Swain Jr.
Doug Thompson's been tough all season. Had himself a bit of rough luck, but hopefully can turn it around here this evening. Danny Bagwell charging down into the first corner. Hutto, and how about Dave Stacy? Already up to third now, Bill.
Stacy looks like he's got a pretty good run going for himself. Hutto to the inside of Bagwell, almost into his quarter panel. The race is getting closer and closer. And looks like Dave Stacy is on the charge, up to third place in front of Will Hobgood as they line up in single file going off the second quarter. Hutto moves over to the inside and takes Bagwell going down the back straightaway.
These two drivers putting on quite a show here in front of the fans, and Stacy is watching it from the best seat in the house. So we've got an in-car camera now again with Larry Caudle. Oh, contact big time up front.
Oh, that is going to be costly to a man running for the national championship. Larry Caudle slamming into the back of Mike Swain Jr., who was caught up in an accident with Christian Elder, another car. Sliding off the fourth quarter and down the front straightaway is George Crenshaw, a former winner, losing some body work in the melee. And now Christian Elder pulling his gloves off in his car. Swain Jr.'s car sitting there with major damage. The other car driving away, Jason Jenkins, first time out. In-car camera once again. We see Christian Elder get sideways. Crenshaw going sideways right there in front of him. Slamming into the back of Swain Jr. is Caudle, and up into the outside retaining wall far to the left-hand side of the screen is George Crenshaw, and his car limping down the front straightaway, missing body work, rear end heavily damaged, and looks like Crenshaw has retired.
Boy, tough night for George Crenshaw, former winner here at Volusia County. Mike Swain, of course, inside the number 28 car. Not the way he wanted to end tonight. But, Mike, how did you think the season would go? Did you ever think you'd have 2 wins?
Oh, definitely not. You know, it's definitely a dream come true. You know, it's something you fantasize about and, you know, you dream about. But we got 2 wins and 2 poles, and I don't think this year could have gone any better. And I got to think that, you know, goes a lot of that credit goes to Ronald Fox, my crew chief, who has a lot of experience. So that helps me, you know, learn a lot quicker. So, and my engine builder, Jan Smith, and everybody else on the crew just does a good job.
Are you disappointed that you missed Daytona, the first race of the season?
Oh, no, that wasn't ever our intentions. We know we didn't race at all. I never stepped in a race car till last September, and, you know, that wasn't ever our intentions. Really, we were going to run the first 2 dash races and see how we fared, and we ran pretty good in both of them. So we just continued on this year, and we're going to run a 4 dash schedule next year.
Well, there's a driver that, even though he wasn't disappointed in running at Daytona in the Florida 200, Gee, he's had a phenomenal year this year. Mike Swaim Jr. involved in a crash there in a car that used to belong to him is the other car that was involved in the wreck, being driven by Christian Elder. That's the car number 23. That's the car that's Mike Swaim Jr. won with in Bristol, Tennessee earlier this year to post his first victory in the Goody's NASCAR Dash Series. Of course, the other victory coming at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Swaim Jr. walks away from Christian Elder, then checks with him once again here. And looks like Elder's going to be able to get traveling once again as his car moves away and will refire up. Need to put your helmet back on so you can go racing. By the way, why does a driver all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota come south to go racing in the Goody's NASCAR Dash Series? Maybe it's the future.
The chance to move up. It's growing every year for a long time, and it's going to be even bigger 20 years from now. So start at the bottom, slowly work my way up. Hopefully I'll be there someday.
Unfortunately involved in a crash here with the driver he bought the car from, Mike Swaim Jr. And we see the 28 car, Swaim Jr. headed back to the pits. One of the drivers who's retired his car already from this crash is George Crenshaw. Everybody else is working feverishly to get their car back into the race. Having retired so far from the event, Gary Moore, Shane Jenkins, Donnie Duchesne, and Dan Partis. Still plenty of exciting competition left here at Volusia County in tonight's event. Lenny, can you believe the number of cars that have been crashed so far in the early going?
I can't believe the amount of damage just in this one accident alone. All the sheet metal damage on young Mr. Swaim's car. And to see Crenshaw go out, the 1992 winner here at Volusia, that's a tough one for the crowd to accept. I know we had a lot of fans over from the west coast of Florida where he's from over here watching and hoping him well, but they won't get to see him finish up front.
Well, the man that's leading the event under caution is young David Hutto. Riding in second place is Dave Stacy. And we would be remiss if we didn't remember the late Rodney Orr, a driver who ran here at Volusia County for a number of years and, of course, started his racing career here. The former Goody's NASCAR Dash Series champion lost his life in attempting to qualify for the Daytona 500 back in 1994. And we do remember Rodney and his contribution to racing, and we'd be remiss if we didn't remember him here this evening. Certainly the surprise of the season has been young David Hutto, who's in a position to lead the championship point chase leaving this race this evening. And should he do so, he would be the youngest driver ever to lead a touring car division of NASCAR for the championship. We'll be back with more in a moment from Volusia County Speedway and the Husqvarna 100. We're at Volusia County Speedway, Volusia County, Florida, right outside of Daytona for tonight's Husqvarna 100. Bill Hennessy along with Lenny Baticki getting ready to go back to green flag racing action. The leader, David Hutto. The man right behind him getting very aggressive this evening is Dave Stacy from Enon, Ohio. And behind them, Danny Bagwell in the 10 Ford Probe. And there is the Wins Oil entry of Will Hobgood riding in fourth place. The green flag flying once again as we go back to green flag racing on lap number 34.
Old gaggle of cars moving out there. Hobgood in fourth, finished second the last time the series tour was here. So he's got to hope for another strong finish as the cars file out. Good run for Dave Stacy there in the 6 machine. He's the only driver in the top 10 in points who has not completed all of the events this season, or not competed in all of them. He's only been in 15 of the 16 races.
The man who is leading the event is David Hutto, the Richard Mash powered injured car. That automobile turning this track in sub 18-second laps at over 101 miles per hour. And right behind him, 2 Ford Probes giving chase to the driver that has led over 500 laps so far this season. He has been completely dominant in the division with the exception of Larry Caudle leading the championship points up until this event. This is the first time that Hutto has led a championship chase coming into an event this season.
9 points. The difference between Hutto and Larry Caudle, and those 9 points hanging very precariously now as David Hutto is so strong up front. He's certainly going to take a big chunk out of those 9 points, if not easily surpass that number.
Bagwell seems to be a bit off the pace. His car not running as strong as it was earlier, dropping back now. Several cars go streaming by. Bagwell looks like he may be headed to the pits as Robert Huffman goes high to the outside. But Bagwell's car is slowing down. He didn't go to the pits that time by. Obviously, some problem on the car. We'll have to find out what's wrong with it very shortly here. But Hutto is really on cruise control now in his Pontiac.
With the competition limping, David Hutto is really going to go for the charge here as he has streaked away from Dave Stacy and Will Hobgood. This is a strong running car this evening, Bill. He's got 5 wins already this season. We could see number 6 right here.
Well, we just talked to Tiny Watts on the crew of Danny Bagwell, and he says Bagwell's reporting the engine's starting to skip. Maybe it's starting to seize up a bit.
Well, Danny Bagwell turned the attention to his dad, Wilson Bagwell, and hopefully get the TCI Ford back into competition. Mickey York and Lyndon Amick in the shot right now, and Lyndon's got some news.
He's in a brand new car this evening, a car prepared by Brian Butler, which is quite unusual. He's normally been driving a car prepared by Bobby Wellman, who built the chassis. Why the switch, Lyndon?
Well, we're going to try something different. I think, overall it'll probably be a better car. At the end of the race, hopefully it'll run better and stay consistent. So we're going to try something different, and maybe we can get a win.
What is the difference between the car that you're presently running by Bobby Wellman and this one by Brian Butler?
Well, the chassis are a little bit different. We're hoping this one's going to work a little bit better than the one we have.
Good to see the maturity of young Lyndon Amick. Very confident in his thoughts and willing to try a new chassis setup here so late in the season. Hopefully he'll do better with it.
Well, Brian has just started building these cars. The first car he built was for Johnny Smith, who's not with us this evening. The second car was driven by Scott Weaver up until Lyndon Amick decided he would give it a try here this evening. He was involved in an early crash, which has hurt his opportunity to be at the front, but he certainly is moving back towards the front at the present time as he gives chase to Mickey York. And there's Robert Huffman right behind him.
Huffman has thoughts of catching up to both York and Amick. But right now, Lyndon has his eyes, I'm sure, even past the veteran Silver Fox in the number 24 car, Mickey York.
Mickey York, of course, in a borrowed car this evening, fielded by Weaver and Reeves. This car has seen a number of different drivers on board so far this season, including Danny Bagwell at North Wilkesboro. Prior to that, it was Johnny Chapman at the wheel.
Coming around the corner, I had an opportunity to talk to Mickey York. They haven't even moved the seat in that car. Everybody's just kind of used different pads and such, and those drivers fluctuate, some 4 or 5 inches between the heights of each guy.
It's amazing how aggressive that young Lyndon Amick gets after he's involved in a collision or has an adverse position on the racetrack. He's really trying to run down the leaders at the present time. Danny Bagwell is out of the race. Danny, what happened?
Bill, I believe the TCI Prime Store Ford broke a rock arm. I think we had a real good car there for the race. Just, it's one of those deals. I'm up here coaching Davey right now. We're going to get him before it's over with.
What speculation on who can win this race? It looks like Dave Stacy is very strong.
Yeah, I believe Dave can win it if he can keep his car together and keep finishing. They've got about 30 more laps, so, I'm telling him, don't give him no breaks. Get the jump on him if you can. Do best you can, but.
Well, one thing you got to say is Danny Bagwell pulling for the driver who is out there in the big, bright blue Ford oval car, riding in second place, and that is Dave Stacy. Had a good run up in Nashville, Tennessee, where he led, and now tonight it looks like he might be in a position to capture a win here at Volusia County. Hutto, Stacy, and Hobgood, your top 3.
Good to see the Ford runners sticking together as Stacy continues to be the sandwich in the meat between these two Pontiacs, David Hutto and Will Hobgood.
Let's see how cleanly these drivers can race each other. Stacy, who has a long tow from Enon, Ohio, brings down his wife and small child each and every race that he's made so far this season. He is quite aggressive. I believe he sees victory within his grasp. He's going to have to slow down. He almost made the pass right there, but coming up on some slow traffic, had to back out of the throttle as they go to the high side of Christian Elder.
Well, the Elder driver of the 23 machine, you talk about a long tow all the way from Minnesota. They have really dragged that 23 car all across America.
He broke his momentum on the last lap. He's going to try to run down Hutto once again. They head down the back straightaway. The Ford Probe giving chase to the Shell Fire and Ice Pontiac Sunfire. He gathers up some ground going through turns 3 and 4. He's cut the margin down to 3 car lengths. Can he get closer?
Boy, Dave Stacy is in some hot company. We talked already about David Hutto leading over 500 laps this season, and behind Stacy is last year's champion, Will Hobgood. So Dave, right now, whether he wins or loses in this position, he's got to be pretty darn happy with how he's doing.
He's getting closer and closer. I don't know, he may not be a match for Hutto, but he's moving up on some slow traffic. We go in-car camera. Larry Caudle right up behind. The Cobra Electronics entry of Mickey York dives over to the inside. Mickey pretty well covering the racetrack.
You can almost sense from the in-car here of the Husqvarna Dodge how critical it is that he gets around Mickey York. He knows those 9 points are starting to slip away. Larry Cottle could lose the points lead in this event.
Out of the fourth quarter now, Stacy trying to fill up the rearview mirror of Hutto as Hutto goes to the high side of Carl Jennings, now moves by Davis Myers. Stacy tempering his moves around the racetrack. Hasn't been overly aggressive so far this evening, certainly showing a lot of maturity for a driver who came out of the ARCA Pro 4 series to race down south with NASCAR, and he's getting closer and closer. They come up on the 72 car. That is Destry Gardner. Gardner in the Alibis Racing entry of Christina Martin. And now Stacy is there, right on the rear heels, almost on the bumper cover. Hutto goes high on the racetrack, may have opened the door. Stacy down at the bottom, can't make the move.
Stacy has only led 24 laps all season long, but he's trying to make the last lap here tonight at Volusia County the one that really counts for the number 6 machine.
Stacy is there, really running a smart race against the young 18-year-old driver, Hutto. They move down the back straightaway. Stacy not trying to use up his tires. He realizes he'll probably only have one chance, perhaps two, to try to make a pass, and he's going to have to make it nice and clean in order to run with this driver who's picked up so many wins this season. 5 in the record book for an 18-year-old driver, and a car prepared by his dad and, of course, the veteran Richard Mash. Stacy tries to move to the inside. It's almost like a prize fight as they put another lap in the record book.
Speaking of prize fights, sometimes you get used to the competition. David Hutto is used to having Larry Cottle, Robert Huffman, maybe even Will Hobgood behind him, but it's a new driver and a new move that he's got to watch out for, and here it comes from Dave Stacy.
A hard way as he moved high on the racetrack. I really think he's trying to move Hutto out of position. Maybe get Hutto to move up the racetrack to throw the block, then he'll dive over to the inside.
To this point in the season, David Hutto has battled mostly with southern drivers. This is a northern competitor who's used to running in those tracks up there in the Midwest. He may have some moves that David is unfamiliar with.
Moving up on some slow traffic once again. Stacy has to bide his time off the second quarter. They go to the high side of Jason Jenkins. Now they come up on the 99 car of Kelly Charles. This car normally driven by Gary Moore. Mirror in the 40 car this evening. Charles in this one. And look at Will Hobgood. Now he's up there. A trio of drivers getting ready to battle for the lead.
Hobgood sensing the opportunity to take it away, and Will sees that Dave Stacy has been pushing on Hutto, and he goes to the inside there, but you can just about see that wins car looking for the opportunity. If these two young men get together, Will's going to slip in there and take this one away from both of them.
Like I said, a very smart race by Dave Stacy. He backed out of the throttle momentarily, allowed Hutto to continue to lead. He didn't jeopardize his car. He knows if I damage this car, I cannot win the race. I've got to get by cleanly, and he is racing a very clean race at the present time. These cars running in excess of 101 miles per hour average around this half-mile track.
Looks like Hutto's rear of the 97 car just edging out a little bit. He's out of the groove, and look at, here goes Dave Stacy trying to put the coup de grace.
And he's going to do it. Coming out of turn 4. He dove to the bottom of the racetrack, and he takes the lead here. Lap 68. Dave Stacy is the leader, running ahead of young David Hutto and Will Hobgood.
Dave Stacy, we commented earlier, he only led 24 laps until this event this season. He's got to make it all the way to lap 100. That'll more than double his complete total for this year.
Just as the leaders went by the start-finish line, Jimmy Howell waving the yellow flag. There's problems over in turn 4. The drivers come up on it, and high on the outside of the racetrack are 2 drivers who brought out the yellow, one being Darrell Murray, the leading Rookie of the Year candidate, the other driver, Carl Jennings. Yellow flag waving here at lap 70. There's more to come from Volusia County Speedway and the Husqvarna 100. Volusia, Florida, just outside of Daytona. For the Husqvarna 100, Bill Hennessy along with Lenny Baticki following another caution flag. This being our 4th of the evening, with Dave Stacy running up front in front of young David Hutto and Will Hobgood We're probably into the final segment of this race, barring any unforeseen yellow flags. Larry Caudle has had to battle all evening long. He's one lap down after being held by NASCAR in the pits. This driver, of course, taking a look up front and seeing a possible championship going away with a young driver named David Hutto, who's riding in second place. But David Stacy from Enon, Ohio, has got a big smile on his face because he's the leader. But he's the driver that has everything to lose if anything should happen with the number 6 car.
Bill, this has got to be the feel-good event of the year to this point. If Dave Stacy can pull this one off, I'm sure it'll be quite a celebration in Victory Lane. His wife, Melanie, his child, Jordan, it's going to be bedlam there. But right now, he's got to get to the finish and hold off the hard charger, David Hutto.
Well, he didn't get here without some help. Sickens Paint Finishes, Hobart Welding, and Valco Cincinnati sponsoring his Ford Probe. Of course, this driver's claim to fame up until this evening and leading the competition at Nashville Motor Speedway was the big giant leap into Bill Francis Lake Lloyd on the back straightaway at Daytona back in the 1994 running of the Florida 200. A little further back, we see the 12 car. No, the 21 this evening. Larry Caudle's in the 21 car, battling for position, trying to move up through the pack. His fellow competitor in the 12 car, the teammate car, is Ed Howell. Howell running within the top 10 at the present time. Meanwhile, let's look at Dave Stacy. Stacy is able to hold a 2-car length advantage over Hutto. Now, I really thought Hutto would be a little bit stronger and pass Stacy back, but that hasn't happened.
We've got to wonder if his father, Jimmy Hutto, is up there telling him championship, championship. Second place is fine. Caudle's back a few bits. You may be able to take over the points, son. Hang in there and get a good finish. They may be running this race for the championship.
Could very well be, as Stacy leads another lap out of turn 4. He and Hutto have moved away now from the Wins Oil entry of Will Hobgood, and Robert Huffman is pulled up and is running right there in 4th place on the racetrack, but finds himself in a position that he could move by 3rd and 4th place and maybe move up, and he has done so now. He has moved his car up into 3rd place as Huffman is now giving chase and seems to be the fastest car on the track. His only miscue was a spin involving himself and George Crenshaw in the early stages of the race, but he didn't go a lap down. He became a driver who took on to the tail end of the lead lap, but has worked his way back to 3rd place, and he is racing hard to get back up there with Stacy and Hutto.
I'm sure Robert is hearing his brother Kelly Huffman, his crew chief, telling him lap times and how close he can get to young David Hutto. And Hutto is unable to really keep the car down on the bottom of the racetrack. The car drifts up just about every time he's around. He is vulnerable. I don't know whether he can pass Stacy, and he really better start watching his rearview mirror because Huffman is coming in a hurry.
Huffman is cutting 2/10 of a lap time off of every circuit around this racetrack, so he's getting closer and closer. As the drivers head for the 2nd quarter, Huffman heads into turn 1. Stacy and Hutto battle each other. Hutto really doesn't know whether to go high or low, and Stacy's doing a fine job of just racing the racetrack rather than racing the driver who's filling up his rearview mirror.
A lot of emotions obviously going on in the 6 machine. He's got to be worried about Hutto, how his car's doing, the grip on the steering wheel getting that much more intense. But Enon, Ohio's Dave Stacy is doing what it takes to pull off a win here at Volusia.
Well, Hutto led the opening laps of the race, then Danny Bagwell until his engine expired. Then Hutto took back over once again, and Stacy took the lead on lap 68. Going to the high side of Carl Jennings, the Hartsville, South Carolina driver. They're down the back straightaway and into turn 3. It's almost an entire oval around this racetrack, especially the racing group, only on a straightaway for just a hair's breadth of a second.
Dave Stacy continuing to lead, but Hutto remarkably staying within about a car length, just now fading back to 2 car lengths.
Stacy and Hutto up front, but once again Huffman is cutting down the margin between himself and the 2nd place runner as he looms closer and closer now to the high side of Mickey York. York now going a lap down late in the contest.
Boy, Huffman is coming about as hard as a pizza delivery guy on the 29th minute as he just keeps cutting the time down as they make the laps around Volusia County.
Well, your top 5 right now, Stacy, Hutto, Huffman, Lyndon Amick and Will Hobgood. And Amick has fought valiantly back after 2 skirmishes with the competition this evening, racing the very damaged Brian Butler-owned entry as we see him come off the 4th quarter riding in 4th place.
Amick not only battling the competition, battling his own car, as the first incident involved Danny Pardis in the other Amick family car.
Out of turn 4, and there is Huffman. He'll be knocking on the door. This trio of leaders go to the high side of Jason Jenkins in his very first dash competition. Down the back straightaway, Huffman could possibly pull the win off now. Huffman is moving quick enough that he's got enough car that should he get by Hutto, there's a possibility he can pass Stacy too.
Hutto has been Stacy's biggest rival to this point, but right now he's his biggest ally, as if he holds off Robert Huffman, this is really going to help Dave Stacy get away and hold on to this victory.
Huffman is a very aggressive driver. He doesn't like to be denied. He moves right up to the rear bumper cover. And if I were a Hutto spotter right now, I'd be saying, look, you let Huffman on by. Don't jeopardize your chances with a national championship on the line. Huffman, the former national champion back in the 1990 racing season, running for John Page that year, fielding his own operation now, along with his brother Kelly Huffman. Down to the 1st quarter. Huffman is there, not quite up on the rear heels as he was on the last lap. But Huffman can manhandle a race car. We've seen it do it before. A former Speedway champion at Hickory Motors Speedway is there. And he nudges across the rear bumper cover on Hutto. He says, I'm here, I'm knocking on the door, move over, let me by. I want to go after the win. And that is what he's doing right now. He dives down to the inside. He will pick up 2nd place out of turn 4. And Huffman and the Hooked on Harry's Pontiac Sunfire, though, and that mile skirmish with Hutto has lost ground to the leader, Dave Stacy, who now has a better than 10 car length advantage.
Better than 10 car lengths, but Robert Huffman has made up more than that to get around David Hutto, and the lap's winding down. Can Robert put it into another gear and catch up and take the lead away from Dave Stacy?
Move over flag being given to a lot of competitors now, and Stacy sees the opportunity to put traffic between himself and 2nd place. Goes to the high side of a competitor coming through the 4th quarter now and onto the straightaway, and that's young Davis Myers, a rookie competitor. The white flag is waving. It looks like Stacy will be on his way to victory here in the Husqvarna 100 at Volusia Speedway. This driver is going to savor the opportunity to capture 1st place in his first victory ever in Goody's NASCAR Dash Series competition.
Howell waves the checkered flag, and we've got it. Dave Stacy, your winner. Robert Huffman comes home 2nd. David Hutto 3rd. Lyndon Amick finishes 4th.
5th place went to Will Hobgood. 6th to Edward Howell. 7th to Jimmy Foster, the Daytona driver, in his 3rd start. Takes home a 7th place. Hutto pulls up to congratulate Dave Stacy, and Stacy drops the window net down, and he's a happy, victorious driver. Let's see what he does when he comes across the start-finish line on his victory lap. Whoa, he wants to get to victory lane very, very quickly. Spins the car around, does a little bootlegger 180, and he's headed back down for the accolades of victory and the sweet champagne of the winner's circle. Oh, he's excited. Gloves coming off, helmet coming off. He wants out of the race car. Congratulations to Dave Stacy.
For the Husqvarna 100, a very emotional Dave Stacy. Big deep breath there. Jerry Hayslip from Goody's helping him out, and a nice sip of ice cool Gatorade. Stacy really feeling it. His wife Melanie, a great kiss there. Oh, the baby Jordan coming in. Look at the proud papa. Oh, you see Dave and the wife and Jordan all over the pit area there. A great family shot. Dave been racing now 12 years. A former ARCA Pro champion, getting the congratulations from the TCI Prime Star crew. An overwhelmed Dave Stacy. Danny Bagwell helped guide him into victory lane on the radio. Now a nice towel to dry himself off with. Bill Hennessy is down close to all this action. Be interested to hear the words of this first-time winner in the NASCAR Dash Series. Bill Hennessy is right there with him.
Congratulations, Dave. It's a long time coming. A rough road to capture your first victory.
Well, it's not our first victory. It just happens to be our first victory in Dash. We've won many other things. Man, my hats go off to all my crew. Mike Rush, my engine builder. Hobart Welding Supply, Valco Cincinnati, Schaefer Oil Company. Man, them guys are going to have a great day when they see this on TV.
Tell me a little bit about the race. It looked like you had the same type strategy that you had at Nashville, Tennessee, but the last 18 laps were all yours.
The car earlier today, I told Melanie that it wasn't a real great car, but we were pretty good. You know, it wasn't real fast, but I thought we'd have a great race set up. Larry Church helped me a little bit. It just went picture perfect. David made a little slip, I got under him, and the rest is history.
During the race, what was your scariest moment?
We didn't have any scary moments. I guess the scariest would have been if David wouldn't have made a mistake.
Well, congratulations, Dave, on your win here at Volusia County in the Husqvarna 100.
This is for everybody at Hobart and everybody that didn't come out. Thanks, everybody.
Stacy's average speed was a new race record, 73.26 miles per hour. Robert Huffman finished second. Bill Hennessy got his thoughts on the final laps.
You moved through the pack. Second place, not what you wanted. How aggressive did you have to get in the final laps?
Well, you know, it was getting pretty aggressive there. The Hooked on Harry Seafood Bar and Grill Pontiac was really strong, and it was strong at the first of the race and got in a little accident there at the first, but I was pushing it pretty hard there at the end. I just would like to have got to run with Dave Stacy. He's a fine competitor, and I'd have enjoyed trying to get the lead from him.
In racing here at Volusia, it almost seems like everything takes place in turn 4, and you almost got caught up in that thing. How did you avoid it?
Well, I really don't know. Everything happens pretty fast here, and I have a lot of good success here at this racetrack. We've run second, I think, every time I've been here, and we were looking forward to coming. You know, it is a place that you run very fast getting through the corners, and it's easy to get swept up in wrecks, and, this place takes a good spotter and people in the pits to keep you heads up on what's happening up in front of you.
Top 10 tonight. Dave Stacy was your winner. Robert Huffman there finished second. David Hutto completed the race in third. Lyndon Amick was fourth. Will Hobgood was fifth. And here's the rest of your top 10. Speaking of our third place finisher, he took over the Goody Dash Series points lead this evening. He's with Bill.
Third place to David Hutto, but a hard-fought battle, especially in the closing stages with Robert Huffman. I understand you may have had a mechanical problem.
Yeah, our rear end, transmission, it started messing up at the end. Started jerking around, but we still had a good run. The Shell Fire Nice Pontiac run good all night. Had a little bit of push at the beginning of the race, but Richard Mash, he put a good motor in it. I couldn't complain. We had a good third place finish. Took the lead in points, so we're doing good.
Any comments on how Huffman got aggressive on you in the latter stages?
Well, it's just racing, no problem. Just hard racing, I guess.
An up-close look is your new series points leader, David Hutto. Larry Cottle is now second in series points. Lyndon Amick is third. Robert Huffman is fourth. Will Hobgood is fifth. And the rest of the top 10 in the NASCAR Dash Series points. We had an opportunity to catch up with our fourth place runner this evening, Lyndon Amick.
Lyndon, your game plan didn't go quite as you'd planned. What happened?
Well, I was just running, trying to get up to the front, and I ran over somebody, however they want to say it, and just part of racing, and I think we had a good car. I just kind of held on to fourth position.
What did the car feel like after you got involved in the crash?
It felt good. It didn't knock anything out, and the car was running good. I think we probably could have had a chance to win, but we just didn't get up there to them, so that's just part of it. We'll get them at Hickory, though.
The time of this evening's race was 41 minutes and 35 seconds. The margin of victory, just 1 second. 4 cautions for 18 laps. There were 3 lead changes among 3 drivers, and the rookie of the race was Darrell Murray. Bill Hennessy's caught up with our 5th place finisher.
Well, Will Hobgood, you finished here tonight.
Yeah, that's a change, ain't it, Bill? I tell you, the wind's all upon it. Run good tonight. We had a real good car. I think about 40, 50 laps in the race, started picking up a vibration when I'd get out the gas, and there were a couple of times when we was running third, the rear locked up on us, and you can't run with a rear locking up. As soon as we picked the gas up, it'd free back up, but we couldn't run like that. But we had a good car, and we had a good race. We had a good finish and didn't tear it up tonight, so we're pleased.
Your car looked like it was capable of winning in the first stages of the race. Then the mechanical problem slowed you down. As you looked at the race evolve, what did you think about Stacy's run?
Stacy had a real good run, but he was running awful hard at the first, you know, and we was running. After they got together there and got to running real hard, I thought maybe it was a good chance to go. But I think that was about 30 laps in the race, 40 laps in the race, and like I said, we took off, tried to make a good run of it, and then mechanical trouble got us a little bit again. But we had a good run, and we'll take it. We're pleased with it, and that Clyde Norwood engine really run good tonight.
The driver who finished 7th this evening is Jimmy Foster. He's coming off a tough crash in North Wilkesboro. Jimmy, how did you get the Pepsi Safety Clean Pontiac back here so fast? You really must have had quite a work week there with you and the crew.
I'll tell you, the crew did a good job, man. They got the car back together to get us down here this week. Just try to stay out of all the crashes and everything. We did that, and I got a good spotter and everything, and a great crew. And really, it's the crew, not me.
Where does your career go now? Now that you finished a race, I know it had to bolster your confidence.
Well, it's going to help us hopefully get a sponsor for next year lined up, and so we can run for Rookie of the Year and run the full season next year, and try to get a, good year for next year.
Good finishing rookie run for Jimmy Foster.
We've seen history here tonight. David Hutto becomes the youngest driver ever to lead a NASCAR touring division.
Well, Lenny, congratulations to our winner, Dave Stacy. For Lenny Baticki, I'm Bill Hennessy at the Husqvarna 100 in Volusia County Speedway. Remember, we'll see you at the races.